Hey, this is Jesse James, and today I'm going to be going over a bike that I feel needs no introduction and is really one of the most famous bikes Harley-Davidson's ever made. It is the 2025 Street Glide. I'll be giving you my review, test ride impressions, and a little bit of pricing breakdown throughout the video. Here on the wheel, this wheel came out in 2024 with the redesign of the Street Glide. It's a 5-spoke setup instead of what we had before in the Prodigy and Enforcer wheel. I really dig the style. I feel like the strength of it is going to be fairly similar as to what we were seeing on the Enforcer or the Prodigy, especially since you can see where even though we have the aluminum brush section right through here, we do have the second piece for the enforcement. The big thing that I like pointing out with the wheels, because even though I know it's been out for a while, is it's now standard to have the outward facing valve stem. Now this, if you've ever had to air up your tires and had to fight around the rotors, that is a very big thing to have on there. And you're also going to have TPMS sensor in there as well. While I will say, never say go fully buy the TPMS sensor, it is a nice little addition on there. So one of the things that they were going for with this redesign was to make the bikes lighter, more maneuverable. And one of the ways they went about that, I should say, is actually by changing out the material for the front forks. Instead of being made of solid steel, they are now made of the same aluminum compound that you're seeing be used in the U.S. Army's tanks, truck beds, things of that nature. Another little feature that you can see on here is your wind deflectors have been changed to be down there on the side to change if you want more air or less air based off of the season. So one of the big talking points with this redesign has been the change in fairing, because for about 50 years there you saw the Batwing fairing go pretty much unchanged. But then with this redesign that we call the Helix, they have a very different look to it. From the lights being in the fairing in there, the Omega inverted Omega symbol there, but also like through on the sides there as well, it's being pulled in significantly. So it's an entirely different look on the Batwing fairing. I know some people will say the Road Glide fairing just handles better than the Batwing. I personally feel like the two fairings do completely separate things. Like I actually feel like you get better wind protection on the Batwing than you do the Road Glide fairing. Big negative that I've read online, but I haven't personally ran into, actually has to do with the underside of this fairing. So some people are claiming that once you get 100 miles an hour plus, the way that it's shaped right there allows for air to catch and cause front end lift, making it to where it could be unsafe at those triple digits. Now, while I personally haven't run into that, it's something I wanted to add into this video of the review of it, just so that people were aware of it. Personally, I don't usually go at triple digits too crazy often, so it's not something that I think would impact your overall rideability of the bike, but it's still something I wanted to point out. With this being in our touring family, we are having a 6-gallon gas tank on it. It's got swooping lines across it. That's actually a rigidity point for the tank as well. Whenever they were making the bike lighter, they shaved the inside of the tank out of it, and so whenever they were doing that, they found they made the tank weaker, so they put that straight line in it. That way it just was a little bit stronger. Now this bike does sport our 117 centerline cooled motor that came out in the 2024 model year. This engine, it's crazy to think that it wasn't that long ago this engine was a CVO motor to have a 117, but now it's in all the bikes. One of the things of it being a centerline cool motor is it is a dual cooled motor, meaning that it's going to be cooled with liquid up there in the front, which is why it has that radiator down there. And how it's going to be different over the previous versions of the Milwaukee engine is it's actually going to be feeding it over the rear head first and the exhaust manifolds, then up into the front. Now what that does for us as riders is it creates a cooler riding experience. Previous versions of the Milwaukee 8 were dual cooled, but what they would do is they would feed it from front to back. That front cylinder is the one that's actually going to be catching the most air, whereas the back is going to be catching less air. So it makes more sense to send it the way that we're sending it now versus what we were doing before. And the cool thing about having a dual cooled motor instead of one that's just fully air or fully liquid is if, let's say, the liquid mechanics fail across it, you're still going to be able to take advantage of that air-cooled component. Now, one of the things with our touring platform is they are going to be coming with floorboards up in the front. Personally, I'm not crazy about it, just because to show you where my foot sits on it, while my foot takes up the entire floorboard, I've often found that whenever I'm riding, my foot is usually hanging out more on the side. So I find it to be a narrow floorboard. The other thing I'm not crazy about whenever it comes to the stock floorboards is the angle of it. As you can see there, it is steeply angled up. And I have found on these bikes, I scrape very easy compared to the previous ones whenever I'm leaning. And I'm not even going crazy into the curves. So I would definitely be changing out the floorboards myself. But what are your thoughts on that? I'm curious to hear what you have to say. So received a more streamlined fashion that you can see here. Some people say that it's getting significantly more storage space with the way that they've redesigned it. Personally, I feel like it's kind of along the same lines as the stretch bags used to be of, yes, you are going to be getting a little bit more space, but nothing crazy. The big thing of it actually has to do with the top lid, I feel like. They actually took note of how many people are putting speakers in their saddlebag lids and made it to where now if you do decide to put speakers back there, you've got plenty of space to add a speaker without taking away from the overall space that you have for storage in your saddlebag, which I personally find to be a very nice touch. Now, something that I personally am very happy about Harley-Davidson finally doing, and that is making LED brake and turn signals standard from the factory on all bikes, not just the Street Glide. The Street Glide did do it first. Something that I actually recently learned was that one of the things that they did of why they sit out so far is to make it to where they are flush with the bag but out a little bit. That way you can actually see the brake lights and turn lights from the side. Custom Dynamics does a kit where you can delete this and it's actually flush with your fender, but apparently they've gotten some claims where it is harder to see at night just because it is further in if you're by the side. Shouldn't be the reason that you do or don't buy that light kit, but it was something that I thought was neat. You'll also notice this bike does come with the docking hardware. That is not from the motor company. That's actually something that our owner thinks is dumb that it doesn't come from the motor company. So he adds it on there, and that is a free of charge thing from here at the Evansville location. So by the time I came in the industry, it was already standard, but I still like to point it out. Your 2025 Street Glide is going to be having your battery tender on the left side of your bag, right behind the panel. We have this one fed out into this location. So if you've got a 2014 or newer Street Glide, check your left side. You might have a battery tender already in there and not know about it. I'll go over your controls and a little bit of whenever it comes over to the infotainment setup. Personally, I dig the controls. It's taken me a while to be able to say that, especially since the previous controls have been around for so long and been fine. The one thing I don't dig though is that right there. I'm personally not crazy about the volume being on the throttle side. I actually have to lift, if I want to turn up the volume on this bike, have to take my left hand and change the volume. It's not very accessible in that spot there. Everything else I'm cool with. Turn signals are auto canceling. Your mode button's right there, and you can either hit it with the inside of your finger or just pull and that'll cause it to change. Kill switch, run switch, and your hazards. Up here you actually do have a degree of adjustability with your controls, so should you want it to be a little bit further out, a little bit closer in, you can change it right there, which is a nice setup for the brake. Back over to your left side, you can cycle through your odometer, traction control, cruise control, high beam, run light, hazards, well, your flashers, excuse me. This button right here is what has replaced our home button on the touring bikes. So you'll hit that button right there and it'll actually pop up the full menu where you can go through stuff whenever you're going through the bike. Your back button, left turn signal, and your horn. On this side, this is actually how you can do the hands-free navigation through the screen while riding. I don't mind it so much on this side just because my throttle's not over here, whereas I do detest the volume knob. Now, if you follow my shorts, you'll know that I'm not crazy about infotainment on bikes. It's just not my thing. It's not what I really go for whenever I'm riding. I'm more of a there for the wind than anything else. But if we're going to be having these infotainments, I do think it was high time for us to get with the current setup of what you would see on the board of your modern trucks. Right now I have it in its accessory mode, so it's not going to be showing everything. Like the gear indicator's off right now, voltage is going to be really low. The way I did that was I just held down the odometer button right there. So anybody that's got one of these bikes and you're wanting to mess around with the screen but not wanting to drain your battery, that's how you go about it. This is its default, its cruise setup. It's the one that I like the best, but you do have a few different screens in there, from your sport mode to your tour mode as well. You'll have your modes down there on the left side, and on the right, that's where you're actually in that center gauge. That's where you'll be able to go through your odometer to show different aspects of it. Tire pressure, nothing, which I like the clean look. Basic compass, and then your trip A, trip B. And then on this side, that'll be your speedometer, and then it'll have a digital. It'll show you your exact speed in there as well. So for this home button, this is going to be the exact same as that button there. So whenever you hit that, it brings up the main menu to where you can then go through. And this is all touch screen, but as somebody that has to clean the screens a lot, I will, for the rest of the video, be using these. So hit that, bring it up there. That's where you'll be able to go into your settings, Bluetooth your phone there, change any audio stuff. Your display, to where I was talking to you about the cruise, sport, touring, that's where you can change all that. Now back to our home screen here, you hit the music note, and that's how you'll get over to your music. You'll hit up, and that's where you can change to AM, FM. If you've got a USB hooked into it, you can change music there, or if your phone's Bluetoothed up to it, that's where you'll get access to all those little things. Navigation, if that does not come from the factory, but if you wish to have it flashed on there, you can, and that's how you'll navigate through that. The icon that you see up there at the top, that is Apple CarPlay. If you've got a Bluetooth setup and an Apple device, you do have to have Siri enabled, but that's where you can actually access your CarPlay features. And then the really impressive section, the tray, which is where you're going to have your USB-C charging spot so you can charge your phone. So now onto the test ride section of the video. I do like to preface that I am a soft-tailed day trip cruiser person, so touring's never really been my thing. But whenever I think of this touring platform, the biggest thing that I really enjoy is you're getting all the comfort of a touring bike, but that maneuverability that you would expect on like a soft tail. And a lot of that, again, has to do with that front redesign, but it is such an easy riding bike. I've seen people that have been riding on trikes be able to go back over to a bagger just because of this redesign. So it's a really nice riding and lightweight, gets out of its own way bike. The 117 has plenty of power. Not crazy about the sport mode, still feels kind of twitchy to me. But also I'm just not crazy about modes in general. The riding position's pretty good. You definitely feel like you're sitting on the bike instead of in the bike. Everything's a little bit closer with that bat wing fairing. But yeah, it's a really good riding bike. If you haven't taken an opportunity to ride on one, I definitely recommend it. It's not giving you that same big bike feel, but what it's doing is truly a thing of its own. And it's fixed something that as a riding community, I feel like we had been commenting on for a long time. Onto a pricing breakdown. All of our prices are going to be pulled straight from Harley's website. As you can see, the baseline is $27,749, and that is for your chrome on billiard gray. This is now the second year where billiard gray is now our baseline color, even though it was black for a very long time, and chrome is going to be the base trim on there. Now, this is what it's going to look like with Vivid Black. You'll notice $600 extra for the Vivid Black, which is still wild to think about, but it is the times we are living in. One thing I'll also point out with all these prices is it doesn't include your freight and setup. So definitely check in with your local dealer and make sure that you see that whenever you're looking through stuff. Next we have Silver Metallic. A little bit higher in the price point. I have yet to see this year, which is crazy to think about, especially for as deep into 2025 as we are. But also the Street Glide and the Road Glide tend to have the most colors to go over. So I may have seen it and mistaken for Atlas silver. $850 though for that color change. Here we are with Blue Burst as well. To me, this is the most traditional way you can go about a street glide. Reminds me a lot of the blue that used to come out in the Electric Glide several years ago now. But this is a beautiful color setup. I wish we got more of these in just because I really dig it. Next up, we have Brilliant Red at $850. This is the first real red that Harley's had in the past several years. We've been doing the whiskeys for a little bit, and a little bit too much orange, but I really like this color. It's got a good amount of metal flake, but not too much, and it looks like we're getting away from those flat colors, which I personally appreciate. But again, $850 for that color of the Brilliant Red. Next up, we have Iron Horse Metallic. This color's grown on me. I do think it looks better than on the black trim, than it does the chrome. Not a terrible color by any stretch of the imagination. Definitely overhyped when it first came out. And one of the things I feel like goes without saying is all the colors that you see here on the website look much better in person. Next, we have Mystic Shift on chrome. This is actually a late in the model year change where you can get this on chrome. At the first half, you can only get it on black. I don't know how I feel about it on the chrome. I think it's just a little too bright. It doesn't flow correctly, if that makes sense. What are your thoughts though? Do you like the Mystic Shift in general, or how do you feel about it on chrome? $2,200 for that color upcharge. Next, we'll move over to the black trim. Black trim, you are looking at $1,350 from the motor company. I really dig the black trim bikes. I do think there's certain colors it works better with than not. Like for me personally, I think Billiard Gray looks better on the blackout than it does the chrome. Next, we'll move over to our next color, which is going to be the Vivid Black. $600 upcharge for the black still. Really, for your color upcharges, those are still going to be the same, regardless of the trim, but still knowing that it's there and kind of like what tier, as it were, is important. But yeah, black on black. Next up, we are going to be having our White Onyx Pearl, $850 for that color charge, that is only available on the blackout trim. I really dig this color setup. It's where you saw a lot of people getting it, especially if you were following the biker build-off from last year, following in their footsteps with it, because they both built up the White Onyx Pearl on black. Looks great. Brilliant Red on black. For a lot of us, this is home run. It's classic black on red. Especially like if you're into like Star Wars stuff like that, this is your dark side colors, your Darth Vader setup, even though more red accents, but love this setup. Can't go wrong with red on black. Iron Horse Metallic on black. I think this actually looks better on the trikes than it does on like the black on Iron Horse, I should say. I think it looks better on the trikes than it does on the others, just because there's more canvas and it lets everything pop a little bit more. But $850 there. Next, we have Purple Abyss Denim. This is only available in the blackout trim, and this has been surprisingly popular. It's actually been more popular than Mystic Shift this year. I've sold a good handful of the Purple Abyss Denim, not a crazy amount of the Mystic Shift, which really surprised me, especially knowing the history of how popular Snake Venom used to be. Next, we have Whiskey Firestorm. This is one of those premium paints from Harley. People haven't been crazy about it. They have not really jumped all over it. The Ghost Flames, I still dig them. It's cool that they're back. I think they actually look better on the Street Glide than they do the Road Glide. But yeah, $2,900 for that upcharge there. And then we have the Midnight Firestorm. Same setup of Vivid Black with the Ghost Flames through it. It hadn't been crazy this year. This one actually, I have it on my showroom right now. This looks really good in person, but again, you gotta be a Ghost Flames person. And then we go over to Mystic Shift, $2,200 for that color upcharge. I love it. I think it looks great. Very flashy paint, and it's got, whenever you get in the sun, there's actually a good amount of blues in there as well. But what about y'all? What's been your favorite color of the 2025s? And that is going to do it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed my review of the 2025 Street Glide. If you enjoyed this type of bike review and behind the scenes of like what it's like working at a Harley-Davidson dealership, specifically in the sales department, you can consider giving a subscription. If you enjoyed this video, give a like. More than anything though, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you out there riding.